So, this is our Rossini system, which we launched about a year ago. It really comes as two main boxes. This is the player version, which as you can see has a CD mechanism built in. And it's intended to be a complete one-box device. So with this player you can obviously play CDs, you can stream data from a NAS drive, you can stream data from a computer or from a USB flash drive, and it also has a full set of PCM inputs, so it has AES, dual AES and SPDIF inputs, which you can connect to pretty well anything else. It's intended to be standalone, and it works beautifully as a standalone device. But you can improve it even further by adding the matching master clock, which you can see here, which is similar in function certainly to the Vivaldi master clock, and it is calibrated in exactly the same way, but it does have fewer features, and as you can see it has no display. So the main capabilities of the player, it will accept data at up to 24384 kilosamples per second through the USB, the network and the dual AES inputs. The other inputs tend to be limited to 24192. It will also accept up to DSD 128 through dual AES, network and USB inputs, but would also accept single speed DSD in DOC format through the standard single wire PCM inputs. We have, just like the Puccini player, included some DSD upsampling as an option, which you can turn on and off in the menu. So the sort of standard path which is built into our DACs as a matter of course is the DXD option, but the DSD adds an extra stage into that process, which we tend to find will add an extra degree of naturalness, and it's much more forgiving, we find, if you have a recording which isn't absolutely perfect. And indeed most customers do seem to prefer using the DSD option. So the CD mechanism is CD only. It is made for us by a company called Stream Unlimited, and despite being non-SACD capable, it does actually perform very well indeed. So just like Vivaldi, we've incorporated the very flexible clocking system into the Rossini range. As you can see here, we have a whole variety of options for clocking, one of which is our automatic word clock locking feature. So this means that you can very easily, using this particular mode, lock the CD mechanism, the USB interfaces and the network interface, both of which are asynchronous mode, to the master clock. If you wish to use an external CD mechanism with a word clock input, you can also lock that to the master clock as well, and then lock the corresponding input on the player to the master clock. There's also a master mode if you don't have a master clock, but you do have a transport that has a word clock input, so you can feed a clock out of here into a transport. We have made the dual AES interface compatible with the Vivaldi mode that we fitted onto the Scarlatti and the Paganini transports, and of course it's already in Vivaldi transport. Now the DAC version is exactly the same inside. Obviously it doesn't have the CD mechanism or the mechanism controller board, but apart from that the hardware inside is identical. So the front panel is obviously different because its functionality is different. And it's not quite as high as the player because it doesn't need to be. But aside from that, it is every bit as good as the player. You can lock this to the clock in the same way and they will mate together beautifully. The clock itself has dithering outputs, and it has 3 outputs, 2 of which are really intended to be used with either the DAC or the player. Note that you don't have to have 2. Both of these have a built-in ring DAC. And here is the ring DAC board, which is actually exactly the same board that's used on Vivaldi. So here you can see the FPGAs we added to Vivaldi to allow it to allow us to change the mapping options, as we've done in the latest version of the software. And this is going to potentially allow us to add more features to the DAC itself in the future. So that concludes my presentation, so thank you for your attention.